All right, we are once again live for day 25 of raising funds for world domination. Continuing on with the theme. So I'll do the usual intro. I'm in between some stuff right now. Got a bunch of distractions to work on, so I've been streaming every day and inviting people to do super chats if you want to vote for what I should work on next. Today I'm quite tired, and I'm starting a bit later because I spent basically all day walking around filming a lot, and I worked on getting the last, almost all of the last filming done for the next shorts video. So, and I probably won't stream super long tonight, because I'll probably take off and try to do a little bit more editing, and then I'm going to film one more scene for it. And yeah, so continuing on where we were last night, I'm going to do some more work on the block mining simulation game. So I haven't merged in what I did last night. I have not even thought about any of the conversations from stream last, any of the things people recommended, or any of the code or anything. I usually merged in during the day, but didn't have time today. I think I had some. I had a bug. I wrote a lot of code and did added some new classes and stuff. So yesterday, so sounds like it's going to be one hell of a short. Many days in the making. I started it on the 3rd. I wrote this, like scripted it out, and then it was during that period I was like, I should probably switch to make sure all my evidence is ready well in advance, because I had to actually today was the last day for submitting new evidence. So for the hearing that's next Monday, so I had to make sure all that was in, and now I can kind of just coast and not think about it for the next 7 days, and then we'll do the hearing, and then whatever happens. And even if I missed the hearing, I still submitted written testimony, so they could presumably they could just read it. Galactic Pass says, "Hello, Robert. We programming in C? Not today. Java. Can't wait for the ultimate cinematic Robert video." Yeah, it is. For some vague spoilers, I think it's definitely different than the favorite video series. If you watch my netcat command video, you could compare it to that, but it's a much more broad. It's not very technical. What about the thumbnail, though? The thumbnail. I don't know what you mean by that. The thumbnail of this this video, or this live stream. Oh, you know what? I think the default thumbnail is my channel banner or something, and I think of my channel banner I had C programming. Yeah. Huh. I should maybe Unix. I haven't done a lot of C programming in a while now. I should maybe. I used to do a lot of. I guess I haven't done any YouTube videos that are C programming. But back when I did blog posts, if any of you, I don't know if anyone of the 8 people here are longtime readers of my blog. There's a plane with a bunch of bright lights on it out there. Yeah, if any of you read my blog posts from back in the day, I used to do a lot of blog posts with C programming when I was working on my compiler, but I don't focus on that at all now. So it's kind of up at a date. I should probably, it's on the to-do list. I should kind of update that banner with maybe a bit more of the stuff that I'm about now. Maybe I've got lots of material to source from now. Yeah, I wouldn't even need to hire a graphic artist now. I could kind of just take some images and probably ask an AI, like, blend these together somehow in a cool way. Yeah, Unix C programming, embedded web. Yeah, that was kind of when I my original emphasis was on like consulting. Like I'm a programmer. I can write programs for you and your business. I can help your business. But then, as I realized that there's no traction in doing that, it kind of evolved more into just like the talking about the subject, educational material better. And now it looks like things are going fully into the just social media slop with a slant on something educational. I'm using Windows for schoolwork, and Lenovo pushed a software update that puts fan cooling behind a paywall. Wow. That's incredible. Wow, that's one of those makes your blood boil. Like those kinds of things. Yeah, I mean that's almost like that's actually the first I've heard about such an egregious. Oh yeah, this makes me want to channel my. I was that's funny you should say that. I was just about to mention Louis Rossmann. That made me immediately think about him and be like, this is exactly the kind of thing that he would like go off the wall about. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he someone. I wouldn't be surprised if other people, if it's pushed to other people, I wouldn't be surprised if they found other people have already been impacted and told them. Okay. So last night, I added a whole bunch of classes and wrote a whole bunch of code, and I have no idea if it works. And it all kind of relies on each other, so. Screenshot in the general channel of Discord, not lying. Wow. That's outrageous. I don't believe it until I see Louis talk about it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I see him talk about it. Okay, so this boots up. The thing I'm trying to add was a closed current frame, and that fails. So this would be a good candidate, I think, for the debugger. Yeah, that kind of stuff is getting out of hand. Like the traditional, like, the concept of like value exchange. Like the reason we pay more money for things is because there's some cost. There's some cost of delivering the service. But if you physically own the fan, then they're not paying to maintain it. I mean, this is going to be like, this is going to get worse and worse. That's not what I want. I forgot to set up the file system mount. Lenovo, yeah. Lenovo used to be good, but this is my experience with my Lenovo was, this is one of the worst laptops I've ever used, and it's one of the like worst value ones too. Actually, my old spare 10-year-old one works better with. It's faster. I think that it's also related to some software issues with it. But I shouldn't have software issues because I bought that laptop specifically. It is the only reason I bought it is because it was on the Ubuntu officially supported list. I don't see anything on the screenshot about fans being turned off. When I booted into Windows after a year, I got 15 different hand pop-ups from different vendors. Absolutely insane. Today I had a former boss call me to help diagnose a network issue with a Windows file share. Turns out Microsoft pushed an update that broke the connections. Nice. Killer Bean says, like the live. Excellent. I've added my Lenovo Vantage 44 euros for me somehow. Probably pricing this based on how pricey your model is. That's insane, and it's with the fan in my laptop, the fans wear out really, really bad, and the fans are basically constantly on. Okay, let's try. Now, here's one of the areas where I think having a debugger actually really shines and saves a lot of time. Or like a visual debugger. Checked it out. It's basically just running CC Cleaner like tool, refreshing caches and running malware scan automatically once a week. Nothing to do with fans? Huh. That's strange. Hey, but apparently it's to to enable your fan. I don't know how that would work then. Vera says, hey there, how's it going? So what you said that so they are asking money for something, but what do they say it is? I've applied for like 78 jobs today because I just graduated college. I wish I just got an engineering degree instead of cybersecurity. Yeah, I don't know. The grass is always greener. It seems like everyone is having a difficult time these days. On one hand, I think there's more like, I think in the world there's more need for cybersecurity people, but I don't even know if companies are necessarily hiring for that. Like companies really they need to improve their cybersecurity, but it seems like even if you get like a software engineering degree, where this is currently a pretty bad market to be graduating into with really any kind of STEM thing. It's annoying though, because now the media cycle is like, tech jobs, those are stupid. The smart people now, they're all going into the trades, and then in like 2 or 3 years, we'll probably have an oversupply of trades, and they'll be like, you're dumb for getting a trades, becoming a trades professional. You should have stuck with it. You shouldn't have always chased the shiny new thing. That's one thing I've noticed about advice now. Like, no matter what you do, you will always be like the butt of some kind of joke and be criticized. When in a base mode, which is eco, there's no option in the software to change the fan settings anymore. But the function Q shortcut still works. You can probably use third-party fan control software. Gaming settings tab. You still have old layout of everything. Okay, so it sounds like at least in the chat, there's not a consensus on whether they're actually forcing you to pay for the fan or not, or maybe it's just some fan control. So just fan curves or something. Okay. Now let's try our fancy new debugger. So there's the focused frame to close. I should have stepped into that. Regardless, my next laptop, whatever I buy, will most likely be framework. Yeah, I've thought about buying one of those. I guess they would framework laptops would probably be well supported with Linux, I guess, given the type of person that would buy them. So that's one of the main, that's my main purchasing criteria, is does Ubuntu run on it, or do I have to like fix 10,000 do I have to like install 10,000 Wi-Fi firmware updates and stuff? Strange, see it now. It used to be its own dedicated tab. Okay, so I guess is the verdict that they aren't necessarily, so you do still have control. It's maybe the menu changed a bit or something. So what did they when they asked you for money, what did they say you were paying for? What was their proposed value exchange? Do you work on laptop or computer? What software is used for streaming? I'm currently on a laptop, and for the streaming, I use OBS. I just bought a Wi-Fi card. I'm praying it works with Linux as advertised. I bought one off Newegg, and then I wrote a long review praising how it worked with Linux. You're paying for the CC cleaner, internet performance, and malware. Nice. Removed all links to performance and battery. And now it's hidden under game settings. It used to be you could just go to performance tab. I wonder if maybe that's like part of the dark pattern. Like they make it hard to find so that some people will think like, oh, because like they might have A/B tested that. Like it might even be like an almost semi-automated thing where they're like they do that to make you think that you have to buy this thing to get that setting back. And this way, like when you complain, they can be like, "Oh, you're just making things up," and they can claim the moral high ground. But meanwhile, they're actually boosting sales. I hate how a lot of peripherals don't support Linux. I have a Monotech mechanical keyboard, and I can't configure it using Linux. Huh. Performance tab is now an upsell. Nice. I'll have to add put some advertisements to my terminal game. Actually, that would be kind of funny. I could probably actually make some sales on that, and in a way, it'd be kind of amusing. All right, this is the function that might not work. It isn't going to add useful performance. You should like your YouTube membership and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it'd be actually. I mean, I actually wouldn't mind advertising like certain types of things. Like if people have like, I don't know, tech YouTube channels for like some GitHub, some like niche GitHub project or something, or like a personal project or an indie game or something. Manufacturers don't care. With the share of Linux users still being so small, whatever works. Linux seems to be, in the last like year or so, I've noticed it seems to be getting a little bit more mainstream now. I haven't looked at the actual percentages in a while. I guess some games already have ads. Community spotlights in the menu. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like it would be kind of funny, but also consistent with supporting things that I want to support. Another like sometimes there's other people who have like small YouTube channels about tech and stuff. I wouldn't mind advertising some of those or something. Yeah, maybe I should do like a sponsored video where it's just like I get people to sponsor and like advertise, just do like an hour of like reading sponsorships from like small indie channels or something, or like Linux projects, just like advertise things that people who watch my stuff would actually want to see. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Frame ID is 1. And frame ID is 1. If this thing equals that thing. What's going on? That would be why. I guess some games already have. Oh, I already read that, I think. 2.6% of desktop PCs run Linux, according to quick Google search. And that's still pretty low, I guess, but I think that's big. I think it's higher than the last time I heard about it. Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess I had this discussion once before, but I almost wonder if like desktop computing might be just like, it might end up being just like an old person thing. Like clearly, like trying to program, like trying to do anything that we're doing on, writing make files and all that kind of stuff on the desktop computer. That's the way software is written now. But the I think we also have to imagine the possibility that like the barrier to entry to typing out code and stuff like that is so high. Imagine how many more users you could get like building and testing software if everyone just vibe coded. Like theoretically, everyone can vibe code, but only like a small percentage of people can do actual coding. So the amount of like garbage software you can write with like a mobile phone now, just like and so there's going to be so many young people who will just like sit in front of their phone, telling their phone to like vibe code stuff, spending like 16 hours a day yelling at the phone, telling it to like, just build the software and do this and do that. And a few of them will probably figure it out. And also all that data will train the AI better. So it's conceivable, like there could be a pathway where like Linux market share on desktop might not even matter somehow. Wow, look at that. We successfully closed a frame, the map frame. Now, let's close this frame, and it'll crash. Nice. No frames to focus on. Okay, we're almost getting toward an actual like usable framing system. That's good that worked. I was kind of fearful that this would be like a 2 or 3 hour long debugging session and I would not figure it out. Now this will be, I think I have a lot of code that relies on the current frame to be something. I can't even have Cloud help me to fix simple issue correctly. I'm still very much not impressed and highly doubt that the fancy stuff people build, vibe coding only. I think what it may happen is like, programmers, like we know how to build stuff and we know how things should be and whatnot, but like ordinary, like think about how, like for an ordinary person, like think about how many ordinary people who don't do programming have like daily tasks where the task is actually quite simple. It's like, if you got some text file with like, or like let's say you work at a school or something and you've got like a class list of students or something, or you want to do seating assignments for your class or something. And you think like, someone, wouldn't it be nice for someone to write a program to keep track of this, or even like a basic homebrew accounting system to like, keep track of a bake sale or something. There's probably so many ordinary people who are not software people at all and don't care about software and just like hate software engineers. They're like these smart alecky know-it-all people. I don't like these software developers. Think about how many people who are like that, who could just pick up their phone now and be like, ChatGPT, like make me a program to do this thing. And if you're like adding up, sales and line items in a bake sale or something, AI is capable of doing stuff like that now. And I think the total addressable market for like how many software problems can be solved with AI generated code, I think is actually massively increased. And those are the kinds of things where a programmer could do that easy. You could just like write a bash script or something. But the thing is, like a random person volunteering at a bake sale would never even have this conversation with a software developer. Because then, it's for software developers, it's not worth their time. And, they got to like argue back and forth. Or like first the person will ask for something impossible. because they're not a software, they don't, customers give poor requirements, and then now the AI can be like, hey, actually, if you specify this, I can do it. And then like the kind of like time wasting arguments are done by the AI. And for some of these things, I think it'll be like, even if 90% of the time the result is not success, like you pull out your phone, you're like, ChatGPT, write this complex problem to solve this problem for me, and then it doesn't work, you're like, oh, it didn't work. It's like going to Google and typing in like, best restaurants near me or something. Then maybe you don't get any results, and you're like, oh well, whatever. But that 10% of the time, if it actually works and gives you something, people are going to use that more and more and more. There'll be some stuff built using vibe coding, but it'll be very terrible. I think that's true. But I actually think it won't be some. It'll be like 99% of, like, just think about the population difference. How many people can program? And what's the barrier to programming? But now, what is the total addressable market? Who can vibe code? Like, I guess a useful question is, how many people cannot vibe code now? It's probably not very many people in the population who could not vibe code at all. Like anyone, you literally just need a smartphone to vibe code. So think about what that's going to do to the amount of software that's going to be written and more specifically, how much garbage software is going to be written. Today I tried to patch my drywall. Bite me AI. Yeah, everyone's going to have to become a plumber now. Let's see a punny robot do that. Eventually, once we tokenize movements. Do you like owning any stocks or any kind of asset? Small or large? No, I'm totally broke and I have basically no assets. It's my I have no savings. A couple thousand, like, $1,000 or something. Most of my equity is in my equipment that I have now, and I have some other kind of like components and stuff, and I've made some other videos about my microchips and stuff. So I've got, I don't know, maybe like $10,000 or $15,000 in like equipment and stuff. But that's basically the equivalent of my savings. It's my tech equipment. For sure, a lot of people have cool ideas and never follow up because they couldn't afford something to build them with. Now they can enter the market, and there will be successful apps made this way, which is why security systems like good field to go into with all this terrible software about to be out there and used. Yeah. I've entered the vibe coding world. I wouldn't call it that. I build my code notes basically, and then Cloud Code builds it in the software with passing tests. Architected well, and it works. Yeah, I really have to take more time to work on this stuff. I didn't do any all the things people recommend me to test and try. I did absolutely none of that in the last 24 hours. Yeah, it's probably the reason my search results are useless. Yeah, probably because there's so much spam out there now. I think web dev will have a lot of vibe coding and maybe even Android app development. Yeah, it probably will. I guess user interfaces are, you can just ask the AI to do it, and then like just see if you like what the output looks like, and it's rejected if it doesn't. Embedded devs will have less impact. Embedded devs. I would think if we were to go into anything, maybe embedded might actually be a bit better. Like if you're going to focus on some kind of software to study with all the vibe coding stuff, I think embedded systems would be more protected than any of the web stuff, because the web stuff is way more like there's way more data and universal rules that the AI can learn. Like it's more kind of pure programming, but in embedded systems, there's all kinds of weird like hardware bugs, and you have to like. There's also a component of like you have to take your embedded system, you have to physically connect it to something, or like something might not work on your board, and then you realize it's because like the pins are shorted together. And AI won't be able to solve that for a while. LLMs aren't the sole reason why search results are so worse nowadays. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of reasons. Are you currently working on a new long form? No, not at the moment. I'm gonna wait until I have less like interruptions and stuff. I'm working on a shorts video that actually after the stream I'll probably work a bit on that as well. Are you having more success with long or short form? The long form brings in more money. The short form takes less time to produce and is, I think it's good for channel growth. I planned on making like a bunch of shorts, but then I planned out this current one that I'm working on, and I thought about like, what could the scenes look like? And I probably spent a bit too much time working on this one. I also got interrupted for a week. Yeah, I have lots of ideas for shorts and other kinds of content, but I have to focus on like what can I do quickly and just get stuff out. Have you ever considered building birdhouses for a living? I have considered like asked myself like, would it make sense? Would there be a business model behind, some kind of small scale carpentry or something? I think if you I think it makes sense to, in questioning whether you should pursue these things, is to start with like the per capita, how much money do people spend on X? So if you build houses, everyone spends money on housing. In fact, everyone spends like a significant percentage of their income on housing through directly or indirectly through mortgages, rent, or whatever. So building houses might be like there's more of the economy going there. And then on the other side, you have to consider what's the per capita supply. Now, bird houses, I don't think many people buy, like how much money does the average person spend on bird houses per year? It's probably not a big number. And the other end of that is like how many people are capable of building a birdhouse or want to build a birdhouse and sell them for fun. There's probably a lot of people who like building birdhouses. But then again, if you have good marketing, I think if you already owned something that was adjacent to that, like if you had like a convenience store or something that sold like a bunch of plants, maybe like if you had a really nice fancy looking birdhouse, you could probably put them somewhere and sell them, make a bit of extra money. But I could be wrong. I mean, the cases where you make lots of money on stuff like that are what about selling birdhouse kits? Maybe. Yeah, that may. There's probably lots of people there who want to get into carpentry. So there might be a market for that. And then you could say, how much money do people spend on birdhouse kits per year? And that number's probably close to zero. But the number of people building birdhouse kits is probably basically zero. Like I've never I don't know. I don't know if that exists. If it does not exist and there's demand for it, even if the demand is small, then you might do really well. Last person I dated seemed to use ChatGPT to generate responses and prompts for them to text me. It was creepy. Interesting. I wonder if it was ChatGPT, or maybe everyone just thinks things are ChatGPT. Everything's ChatGPT now. Everything's AI. How ATF Studio is getting fished the whole time? I don't know. Maybe a book about how to make a birdhouse. Birdhouse kits. Yeah, maybe. If there's demand for that. Actually, that sounds like the kind of thing that you probably would be able to make. Make one of those, like, what's his name? Alex Hormozy, or like Gary Vaynerchuk videos, where you present this kind of like ridiculous, passionate argument about like you know what naive people do? They go out and they think, go out and build birdhouses. You got inventory and you got all these, supplies, and you got to ship things and stuff. And then you think, one level indirect from that, you got to build some. You're gonna, supply the market of fools that are building birdhouses. So then you sell birdhouse kits. But I don't even do that. So now you got to. Now you want to reduce your cost even more. So now you could go on books. How about, actually, let's go one other level. Here's how I made my $10 billion empire selling ebooks on Amazon about how to get rich selling birdhouse kits. And I just use ChatGPT to write a giant, like, meandering 3,000-page essay about how how you just got to believe in yourself, and if you just make some birdhouse kits, you can make a lot of money. Yeah, psychosis would to be a real thing. I think it already is. I hate AI images. They're so ugly, fake, even the ones that are supposed to be pretty and intricate. I like them. They're they're kind of like dumb and silly, but it's also not going away. I like calling people robots when they're clearly a human or a cyborg. I met the person IRL twice. Yeah, did you bring up the suspicious ChatGPT messages? Fun fact, my mother's part machine. Interesting. Robert is a chatbot, right? No, I'm not. I'm totally real. That's why I think streaming is one of the reasons why people like streaming, is because it's like it's hard to fake it now. But in the future, they'll be all AI generated. I wrote them in Perl. Why not Java? World domination. Yes, indeed. That's what we're here for. All right, let's try to close this help menu. Unknown frame state ID. If you need someone to be some sort of right-hand man, I'm down to help dominate. Yeah, I've had lots of volunteers so far, so I'll add you to my list. I just need to get the financing first. I need someone to super chat me $12 billion, and then I can get a deep water port set up on a remote uninhabited island, and then I can start the new country there. They were fake IRL. Told me they had a vision from God about how I was supposed to do something. Something I think is wrong. Weird texting was a small footnote of that 9-day experience. Well, it sounds like it's good that it only lasted 9 days. Robert's New World Order. Let's go. Maybe we can become partners with the space nation Asgardia. I think I've heard that word before, Asgardia. I don't know. I don't watch any shows or fictional anything, so I don't know the reference. A for upholding traditional dating rules. Came away not only unscathed, but practically giddy from it. Oh, that's good. A dating happy ending story. All right, I'll catch a 90-minute nap before class. Keep up the dominating. Thank you for the kind words. It's a legitish country, kind of. No one really recognizes them. Okay. Yeah, I know there's a few random places in the world where like there's places not claimed by any country. There's one down by like Sudan or something in the middle of nowhere. should make a tier list of micronations. That's a good video idea. It's not quite my it's not quite my I don't know, what do you call it, channel theme. It'd be a bit off topic, but that's the kind of video that if someone else made that, I would click on it. All right. Nice. They have over 1 million members. Oh, okay. I'll also look that up. Robert may be a chatbot, but is sophisticated enough I can suspend disbelief. Thanks for this, Discord. Went ahead and joined. Love TOS questions. Running Universal Blue Fedora is known. Universal Blue Fedora known as Basite. Done with Windows. I don't think there's many Windows users here. Not many willing Windows users. Someone get Hannibal Turn in here and ask him about his childhood. Yeah, I don't know what that comment's about. What are domination orders for tonight? That's a good question. I would say I order everyone to become strong and to prepare for when the time is right. Get some money, hit the gym, improve yourself, think positive thoughts, get some jobs, do some push-ups. Got Linux boot stick, but I still use Windows. Hannibal Lectern is actually the holder of books Oh, a lectern. I actually don't. I don't know. That's like a podium or something. I don't quite understand the reference. What job do you want to get? I don't want to get any job. I want to continue doing the job I have. Dominating the world job? Yeah, I mean, someone has to do it. Can't do world domination. Right now, busy supporting family of adult toddlers. Well, that's one subtask of keeping the world afloat. Have you been timed? Have you tried another code editor before? People keep recommending them to me. I have, so I've been using this. The one that I've been learning is IntelliJ. And I do use it. It is attaching with the debugger, and so I've been switching back and forth. For actual like typing, I prefer Vim. Now people have recommended NeoVim, and I have I started it up and didn't really do anything with it. I used it enough to realize it's similar to Vim. Now, apparently NeoVim has support for like a language server, so that is something that I may investigate setting up. But there's a bit of work I have to do on it, and I have too much other stuff. But after the streams, I pretty much forget about everything that people mentioned during streams. Yeah, I was trying to like switch, but honestly, I think my most productiveness is like a hybrid, like a code in Vim, and then like for text modification, bulk text modification in Vim is better for me. And then like if I wrote code for like an hour, I can just hit compile here, and then I can look at all the errors at once, and I can get the usually I don't need the autocomplete, but I find sometimes, the minority of times when I do, it's quite useful in here. Okay, this will resolve one more null pointer exception. Okay. What's the error again? Do default key. I also have a friend that sticks to First Love Code Editor and just use other code editor for debugging and stuff. Yeah, I think with the whole AI wave, like I don't want to get left behind in the dust. I guess honestly the amount of time I spend coding during the day has been less in the last few years, so. All right. So no crashing. Does the help menu work? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so the only thing that's messed up about it is that it does not, if there's no frame, it just doesn't print. All right, it's kind of messed up, but actually this is pretty decent progress, I think, for tonight. Honestly, was using Notepad as my editor for the longest time, with idle as my debugger for Python. So this seems like an upgrade. Just can't wrap my head around it for some reason. Yeah, it took a while to get proficient at Vim. Got something against dust. I'm not sure what that refers to. I did try Guinea for a bit for Python. It just feels easier for me. For me in default Notepad. Probably should actually understand proper IDE at some point. Yeah, there's cases where I remember my operating systems professor, who was kind of eccentric. He was like a crazy genius programmer. He always had a phrase that that stuck with me that I really related to. He said, when you're like a noob and you don't know how to program, the way you debug is by putting printfs everywhere. And then like you just see what the output is. And then when you become more sophisticated and you become more of a real programmer, you start using a debugger instead of putting printfs everywhere. And then the final stage is eventually you become a very experienced programmer and you go back to using printf statements again. And debuggers, I think, are there's a few specific cases where your job is just so much easier if you can just like for certain types of debugging problems. Like the perfect example is the problem I was having when I started the stream. When I wrote a whole bunch of code. It was like 20 different steps, and I just wanted to go through and check, is the state consistent with what I expect it to be? So to be able to step over that and very quickly trace like where that one evaluation statement where I was returning the wrong number, that really popped out. Whereas with printfs, I wouldn't have known where to put the printfs, so I would have wasted a lot of time with it. So I think cases like that. Also with deadlocks, I find if you just like run the debugger and then pause and then let's say like, where is it deadlocked? Where is this thread blocked? That is like, I think that is the perfect use case for a debugger. Whereas with printfs, you put printfs in your entire program, or you put one printf in, and then it's like, here 1, 2, 3, and you see that, and then it deadlocks, but it could be like, 1,000 lines away in the deadlock. I've been having this issue where when vacuuming sawdust off a metal floor, I get about 1,000 volts of charge build up on my body. Measured up with a voltmeter. I don't know, maybe it's static, but then again, the other question is like how much current and energy is at that 1,000 volts. It might just be static, or maybe there's some kind of grounding problem. Maybe your vacuum's messed up. There's a ground. It's not grounded or something. Is Java your favorite programming language? It's my preferred programming language for this job. When I touch the metal floor, I get the shock of my life. It's not for fun. So you could say dust has something against me. Oh, okay. The shock of your life. So it's a static shock. It has to do with the particle rubbing on a plastic tube of the shop vac. Okay, homemade Van de Graaff. All right, so it's not a safety hazard, I guess. That's good. Warm, coherent anecdotes. Definitely an elitist chatbot. Most of my debugging is logs. Yeah, for I said debugger is good for concurrency problems, but I find if you're actually writing like concurrency primitives, or you're working with like semaphores sometimes, the best, those are like when you get really into the nitty gritty of those kinds of like locking scheduling problems. I find that's when printf actually really shines, because then you just put like a printf on every other line. Do you write C or C++? I've written a lot of C in the past, but I try to move away from that. I think C still makes sense for embedded systems. It's kind of the only choice still. Like got the same when I was installing blow-in insulation in my brother's attic. I touched the newspaper insulation. It was in the machine on top, and it floored me. Yes, static electricity is actually like a really significant industrial hazard for especially in there are certain types of like you mentioned like blow-in insulation. There are certain like plastics manufacturing where because plastic is an insulator, when there's like you have a large vat of like this like liquid vinyl mix, it's basically like liquid plastic stuff. There's a huge risk of the stuff like exploding just from like self-ignition. Well, I guess this audience might be interested. There's a YouTube channel called it's like if you just search for chemical safety board, they have these like reenactments that are they're voiced. They have a narrator who's like a really good narrator to listen to, and they have there's one specific one if you're interested in that topic of plastics igniting. Yeah, you could probably just search it. Just type in like chemical safety board plastics vapor ignition. You'll probably find that video where there's an interesting accident investigation where this giant vat of stuff blew up, and it was because of insufficient electrical grounding and static buildup caused the whole thing to blow up. I think they're supposed to have nitrogen in them to prevent that. I feel like a lot of people use printf as justification to never learn debugger, which annoys me. Yeah, I think ideally use USCCB is the name of the channel. I'm pretty sure you're right about that. Yeah, they have they're probably like of my, I don't know. I would say that they're somewhere near the top of my favorite YouTube channels. The reconstructions are it's one example of this. One of the few examples I think of like tax dollars very well spent in making those videos. And some of them are kind of comical almost, because a lot of them are like they investigated and they found that the employees complained to the employer that, hey, this thing is not safe. But then due to cost cutbacks, the company just told them to work more, and the supervisor didn't come in this day. And it's basically just like management failure after management failure. After watching you deal with emoji spacing, I started replacing some old image icons on my website with emojis, which turned into a whole layout redesign. Okay, I hope I didn't cause you too much unnecessary work. Old image icons on a website. I would assume on a website. Well, I guess the problem would be a bit easier, I think, on a website within, or at least having to. I added some WebGL fancies at the end. Yeah, it might be. It's probably a bit more efficient, more efficient for the user to actually download, but then again, emojis I think are not universal, so you can have a given emoji and it appears different on different computers. Every safety regulation is written in blood. Yeah. I had an old layout that was just getting older. Yeah, I've got some old sites that could use updating, but it's diminishing returns. The guy's voice is like the backrooms, calm, seasoned, and reliable. Yeah, he's the perfect guy to narrate those videos. But with that, I think I'll declare this another successful live stream. I figured out the bug that was making the close help menu crash. So let's see. Tonight, gonna film one more thing, and then hopefully try to finish the shorts video tomorrow. And then I have a couple of errands to run over the next couple of days. So I'm gonna try to continue at least one stream a day for a bit. But yeah, I'll probably be back on at some point tomorrow. It might be a lot earlier, but not quite sure. Oh, thank you for the super chat. So we can claim another successful round of funds raised for world domination. Thank you very much, Bradley. All right, talk to you later.